This is just a quick video for anybody who may have been gang stalked and also happen to have been diagnosed with either schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder. Before I get into the medication side of things, I'm going to explain a little bit of this program. So this program exists to, one, diagnose you with schizophrenia. That's most of what they're going to be going for because hearing voices is a symptom of schizophrenia. And that's one of the first things that happens for people in gang stalking. They start getting V2K, and then they start getting gang stalked around town, and then it lasts for years and years and years, and the psychiatric industry will try to frame it as though it's entirely a mental problem in your brain. And there are other people in this program that will be placed in facilities for you. That's what happened to me. I was taken from Newark all the way to Columbus to a certain psychiatric hospital, and there were agents that followed me there and posed as patients. I don't know how they got in, but they were not actual patients. They were agents that followed me from Newark. That is no joke. One of the people that ended up in the psych ward with me is some kind of an agent working on behalf of a handler, and I'm assuming that the people who were there knew he wasn't in legitimately. And then there was another person who was sent to that same hospital afterwards. And this person has the same mental disorder as I do. Schizoaffective disorder. So they use these people in the program with the same diagnosis as you, against you, or they just use these people in the program. The medication they gave me stops me from feeling any sort of pleasure completely. I almost feel nothing. I've had to take so much, and I still can't feel anything. I don't have the money to keep it up, and that's just my warning to anybody who's doing antipsychotics, who's on maybe Depakote or a mood stabilizer, is that one of the things that these drugs do is attack the dopamine center of the brain, and it's claimed that the action at the dopamine receptors is supposed to balance the dopamine and serotonin in the brain. It really doesn't. In fact, causes such a problem where if you are trying to, let's say, smoke weed, or you're trying to get a euphoric effect from maybe coffee, it's not going to happen. You might not feel anything from the coffee at all. So it's going to come down to what you want. Do you want a pharmaceutical nothing with a bunch of side effects, or do you want a plant that has basically no side effects and almost all benefit? That's the kind of programming they put you under to convince you that certain things that you did on the outside before you got institutionalized or whatever happened to you are the cause of your problems now. And then all the medication they give you sucks. All of it. Every antipsychotic sucks. They all cause weight gain. They all cause overeating. And they all suck. But some of these drugs specifically affect how dopamine is registered in the brain. So that means when you go and you try to have a euphoric anything, you can't have one. You can't feel any sort of euphoria. You can't feel any sort of goodness at all. So then at that point, you're not neutral. You're upset because you can no longer feel the same way that you used to. And even stopping the medication isn't enough. Once it rewires your brain, it's pretty much permanent. Even if you only did it for a few months like I did. So that's what happened to me. It ended up making it almost impossible for me to get high or feel any pleasure. And at this point, they'll basically what they do is they refuse. Like, if you have schizophrenia, they refuse to prescribe you an anxiety medication like Xanax. They refuse to prescribe it, and they refuse to prescribe anything else until you claim that the voices have been dealt with. And none of the drugs are going to make the voices go away because the voices are coming from a form of technology. The only thing that's going to make the voices go away is if you join the gang stalkers and you join the fake cult that's posing as, oh, you just have psychiatric problems. That's the label they throw on you so that they can control your decisions, and they can pink slip you and do psychological experiments on you while you're in the psych hospital, which is what happened to me. I said I liked my experience at the psych hospital because I did, but I did not like the long-lasting basically dopamine blocking effects of the drugs they put me on. I'm supposed to be high right now, and I don't feel a goddamn thing. I regret ever listening to the people that gang stalked me enough to the point where I flipped out and ended up in a psych ward. Those people are pieces of shit and nearly destroyed my fucking life. It's insane. Keep in mind, I didn't voluntarily admit myself to the psych ward. I was taken in on a 72-hour hold. Basically, if you claim that you're hearing voices in your head, there's a high probability that they're going to pink slip you. I ended up flipping out the day I went into the psych ward because this fucking team of people literally just harasses you all day long. So let me explain that. Before I got into the psych ward, before I got this medication, I was consistently being harassed on a daily basis by Satan and all of his puppets, a bunch of gang stalking sellouts. And what they do is they use a form of software that forces you to look at an image, a video over and over again. It can also play the same song over and over again, so you think you got songs caught in your head. It can say anything that it wants to, and it can program an artificial intelligence system to sit there and talk with you all day and insult you and, beat you down. Eventually, I got tired of looking at the images they were forcing me to look at, and I flipped out. And after that, I ended up in the psych ward. One of these guys threatened to rape a baby. One of these gang stalkers threatened to rape a baby. So, these people are really fucked up, and I don't know who's going to write that off as a joke, but they need to go. So be careful what psych medications you take, and be careful what you say to a doctor, because these drugs are no joke. I can't even get high right now. And believe me, I'm trying. And the feeling that it replaces the high with is sad. It's nothing. It doesn't feel like anything. And most people that have these medications hate them. So that should tell you everything you need to know.